Hello and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of Civilization 4 Beyond the Sword. I said in my last series that I was going to do one on RFC, and that's exactly what we're doing. This comes based with Beyond the Sword, so if you have the game, you don't need to download anything to play this. Today, we're going to play as the Dutch. So, the Dutch have a lot of interesting things. They start in 920. So we're going to be waiting a couple of minutes before the game begins once we click OK. We have to be the civ with the most revealed territory on your map in 1600 AD. That's going to come at us pretty quickly. We need to be the first civ to found a city in Australia. I think we can do that. And our last objective is the hardest one. We need to get 7 spice resources by 1775. So if you don't know what RFC is, hopefully it'll become apparent pretty quick. We're going to go ahead and start because we have to wait for a little while anyways. We're going to play on Monarch. I typically play on Viceroy, but I don't know. Might as well push myself to play a little bit better. And this is one of the easier civs to play in my opinion. So hopefully we'll be in a good spot. So in RFC you have a set start date. And you have stability. So your civilization can collapse. And you need to accomplish your objectives by the date required. And all the other civilizations in Europe are going to be kind of our friend and kind of our enemies. Hopefully they'll mostly be our friend though, because if they're not, we're going to be in big trouble. So I've won as the Dutch before. But again, it was on an easier difficulty, so some of the things that I do may not work, and I may end up having to restart this a few times. I wrote down where all the spice resources are on the map, just so I know where I want to settle. So, in my opinion, the easiest ones to get, there's 2 in South America, there's 3 in Indonesia, and there's... oh, where do the other come from? Sorry, I need to look at my notes, actually. There's 1 in India that we can get, and there's 1 in the Caribbean. But there's 10 resources in total that I think we could get. Or maybe this is 11. There's 1 more in the Caribbean. There's 1 more in Madagascar. There's 1 more in Indonesia. There's 2 more in Indochina. And there's 2 more in Persia. So there's about like 14 resources we could get, but I've identified the 7 easiest. I used to think that going into World Builder and checking these things was kind of cheating, but there's really no way to play RFC without doing it. So sometimes you get screwed here a little bit, and Germany founds this city right here. It's kind of unfortunate for us. Suddenly lag? What is this? There we go. It's kind of unfortunate for us, because it means that he's going to be right on our borders, and he's not going to like us very much. But we're going to try and push through it. I don't want to do a bunch of restarts when we don't have to. And while it is unfortunate, we can probably take it with culture a little while down the line. And as long as he doesn't declare war on us, it's not actually that bad. So as the Dutch, our unique ability, all civilizations in RFC have a unique ability. Ours is all of our sea units can pass through all sea tiles, even if we don't have open borders. So we start with 2 settlers and we settled 1. We're going to take the other one down to South Africa. And I know that's a long way, but that's where a lot of our production is. We'd like to get the Sistine Chapel, because that would ensure that we can really screw with the Germans. We are in the center of Europe, and we have marble, so it would be really good for us. The only downside to doing something like that is he could just declare war on us and attack us, and he's much more likely if we have a bunch of culture coming out of the Netherlands to do that. We want to trade with these guys, but they don't have a lot to give us. We do want calendar. None of them want to do open borders with us, and that's okay because we don't need it. We also have a unique building and a unique unit. Our unique unit is, I believe, a ship, and it's pretty good, but it's not that great. And our unique building doesn't even come into effect until after we've probably already won. Which is a shame because it's probably the strongest unique building in the game. It's a replacement for levees, and you can build them anywhere, and they just make all tiles, all water tiles +1 production. Which means that all of your, like, if you put a city on a island, all of the water tiles around it just get tons of production. And it's very strong. So we just instantly set our workers to auto. There's not much to do here, but I just don't want to be bothered. We're gonna pay to have the lost screen replaced. Just because we only have one city. It feels like that's worth it to me. One of the things I forgot. So you might wonder, like, why we're not settling here. For one thing, the land is bad, but also civilizations in this mod have stability maps, places they should settle and shouldn't settle, because settling on places with low stability could collapse your civilization. We have bad stability here, but where we don't have bad stability is in South Africa. Also, civics change your stability. This is the classic combination right here. Hereditary rule, vassalage, and organized religion is one of the most stable civic combinations you can get. And I should have swapped into this on turn 1 and just forgot to do so. But we're gonna do it now. Hopefully that doesn't screw us. Swapping civics lowers your stability, but having those civics can increase your stability. You have to look into the Civilopedia, which is up here, to see the information on it, which kind of sucks, but we don't, there's no other choice. And you have to go to a third-party site, and all the links are dead for the stability maps. I'll include the Dutch one in the link in the description below, and you can go through and see the other ones just by replacing the word Netherlands with something like France. Because even though the site is dead, the image files, for whatever reason, are not. So this is kind of interesting, right? Because France hasn't gone Christianity yet, which means you could get like another religion, which would be pretty goofy, pretty wild. You probably won't still. You know, we should just trade with the English while we can. We don't mind if they take engineering, and if they get Notre Dame, we'd be happy with that. And we're happy to have the English as our friend.
Meditation brings wisdom. For everything there is lack of meditation.
I don't regret that.
Know well what leads you forward.
Yeah.
And what holds you back.
So we met the Malinese, and they don't have a religion yet. That'll change pretty quick. They could get Christianity. It's possible, and sometimes they do. But they are inclined, the AI is inclined towards converting towards Islam, even if it already has Christianity and is Christian. So it's not very likely that even if they become Christian, they stay Christian, but it does happen. We want more settlers, because there's a lot of space down in South Africa that we'd like to be able to have. See what I mean about this settlement here in Denmark? It's really unfortunate that Germany's done this to us, but it's not that uncommon. You can end up in a situation, oh, I'm not Christian. I will convert immediately. I'm making all sorts of mistakes. Thankfully, as the Dutch, we may be fine either way. This will make everyone like us more, and we can finally get some open borders. I was wondering what was going on. I guess that explains it. Actually, I don't think Christianity was even in our country until just then, so we couldn't convert to it anyways. So we did everything right there, actually. So we're here at the Horn of Africa. The West Africa is I don't want to convert to theocracy. You've wasted enough of my time. Even though I'd like to be your friend, Isabella. West South Africa is worse than East South Africa. I already know where I want my cities here, because, again, I looked at it before I started this playthrough. Please stop bullying me. I would like it if the nations of Europe would stop pushing me around. I guess that's just, you know, just Dutch things, right?
That is the faith that I am searching for.
I think I want a city here. Anywhere south of this mountain right here is okay to settle for the Dutch. South or equal level to that mountain. So this is where we want one of our cities. And then we're going to want another one like here. I talked about this in my previous video, but if you hit Alt and S, you can do that thing. 2 cities are going to be plenty, and it's going to screw with our research pretty badly, but, man, that is really unfortunate. We're going to want a worker here as soon as possible, because we didn't bring one down. We could have, but it would have taken 20 more turns for our galley to get back up to Amsterdam. So I don't regret choosing not to. The only thing that we're really worried about this game is Germany could attack us, and theoretically France could as well, but France tends to not be inclined that way. Germany does tend to be inclined that way, and so... But the thing about the Germans is they're not very stable for a very long time. And if they stay unstable forever, or if they collapse, that would be really good for us. Just, you know, sort of a sad but true sort of thing. Yeah. So we're going for music. We like the Great Library if we could get it, but someone's probably already gotten it. We want optics for caravels. And then we want paper. Education. And if we don't get liberalism first, we may as well just restart. It's pretty important towards getting astronomy. So there's a plague. Probably all our units are gonna die. This is one of my least favorite mechanics about RFC, is the plagues hit, it reduces your population, and it often kills your units, in particular your workers. We could try and prevent it by bringing our workers into the city and trying to heal them, but it's pretty unlikely that that helps. The good news is that the plague is killing a lot of the German military might you can see over here. We're not going to do this. Somebody's already built the Great Library. That doesn't surprise us. Somebody's already built. I don't know about that one. Yeah. Here's Portugal. We're worried about him stealing our city spots, but that's just about it. Spain too can do it. So again, we only need one city in South Africa, but there's a lot of good city spots that we'd like to grab just for the production. Mongolia spawned. So let's take a look at our objectives again, just to see where we are. As soon as the game comes to. Pardon me. Hello, Ragnar. He hasn't converted to a religion, and that's pretty standard. Yeah. So we like some culture down here now that we have a worker. If we put the worker on building, if we auto the worker, he might try and road up to Amsterdam. So we're gonna tell him to work on the nearest city. He won't build roads up to Amsterdam if we do that. You don't want to spend a lot of time building settlers, because it reduces, or you're not growing during that time, so it's good just to use slavery to whip those out, which is what I've done. I would be happy with open borders with all members, and I would like that to pass. We're keeping a close eye on Germany. We have the military might probably to defeat him, and we could build walls pretty quickly, but we don't want to be in that situation if we don't have to be. We're technologically doing pretty well right now. The French are keeping up, but they don't have music, and they don't have literature, which is what we would be worried about. The English have paper already. They might beat us to liberalism. And I said that was probably a restart, but it's really not that bad if it's the English that get there. If it's the Portuguese or the Spanish, that's a real problem for me, because if they get astronomy first, they'll probably get the city spots that we want in a few places, and then I think we're just screwed. As the Netherlands, you don't really have the capability. Sure, we'll give you this. I mean, it's nothing, essentially. We don't really have the capability to fight a war. We're doing too much already. It's not that we don't have the production power. We already have too much going on. So, as I was saying, let's take a look at our objectives. So, be the civ with the most territory on your map. I believe this is by 1650. The UI, again, for RFC is not perfect. You can look it up in the Civilopedia if you want, but I know this says 1650. So we're not there yet, obviously. But we're probably on track with most of Africa discovered. Be the first to found a city in Australia. That one's usually not too hard, because the English are the only real other possibility. The French can do it too, but they typically don't. We'd be worried about the English doing it, but they don't typically prioritize it very hard. There's a lot of cities in North America that are a lot better for them, and they care about a lot more. And if they want to do that, let them. So Portugal attacked me. I don't know what this is about, actually. He's not after my galley, though we are now worried about sending things through there. We got lucky. Christianity spread down here. There's a native city up here that we want nothing to do with. We don't want to take it. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to fight them. We truly want nothing to do with what's going on up there. Our galley has killed a Portuguese galley. So that was this empty one. He's probably going to kill my ship. But even if he does, he's just killing an empty galley. We're not too upset about that. We got music. We're going to know if we're the first one there by whether or not we get a great artist. Germany actually managed to culture press my marble off me, which means we have to build it doubly as fast. We weren't the first one there, because we didn't get a great artist. Who is the first one there? It wasn't the English. And it wasn't the Spanish. And it wasn't the French. And it wasn't the Germans. So, that's really weird. What that tells us is that there's some sort of Eastern power, which is doing pretty strong right now. That or music got probably discovered by the Arabs. I don't believe the Arabs can build the Sistine Chapel. There's a religious restriction to it in this mod. Yeah, we're happy to give you that. We're okay with getting pushed around a little. It doesn't really bother us. Otto's less likely to, or Isabella's more likely to stick around, but we're more worried about Otto, so we'll just vote for him for the increased friendship. And we are probably on our way to building the Sistine Chapel, if I had to guess, even though we don't have the marble. We could try and trade for marble. Is there anyone? There's no one who will trade marble with us, which is a real shame. No. Maybe if we had gone for music faster, we would still have the double production. Notre Dame got built. That doesn't surprise us. We did get a great profit, but we can't do a golden age. We'd probably rather just have the civil service research
The
knocked
bureaucracy
out.
is expanding to meet the needs of the expanding.
I could switch
bureaucracy.
into bureaucracy, but again, it's less stable. We're hoping Portugal makes peace soon so that we can sail past. Because we do have a settler on the go, and we can settle in the Congo. Or we can take that last city down in South Africa to prevent the English from getting in there, which is what we'd probably rather do. That's why we settle South Africa immediately. The English will settle there if we don't, and we'd rather settle there. So this ship got here safely. If either of these ships had been interrupted and sunk, we would have restarted. That didn't happen. Portugal's willing to make peace. He'll give us some money. We're leaving immediately. We want to make sure they get on this ship. And we're off. There's a fourth city we can get sort of up here-ish, but that'll come later. It's an inland city. We want a city here, even though there's no spices to be gained. Our first spice that we can see on the map right now is in Madagascar. Oh, we can't even see it yet. Never mind. You're the worst enemy of Elizabeth, but you are Christian. You don't tend to last very long, but the English like us. We'll give this to you, because we're not worried about you. I think we may as well. We're gonna need a worker. 2 workers down here in South Africa make a lot of sense to me. Did I not tell you to auto work? I thought I did. I really thought I did. But you don't seem to be doing anything. I don't know what to say about that. Except it's annoying. Christianity is spread. And we're not the scariest civ on the block. In fact, we're the lowest civ on the block right now. But that doesn't bother us. We're happy to be there, really. There goes Otto. He didn't make it.
The wisest men follow their own direction.
It doesn't surprise us. But it's still interesting to see that he's gone. We'll probably take this city at some point just by culture. And give me a second here. I need to check the map. That is actually an unstable area for us. So if we flip this city, it's bad for our stability if we keep it. We still might. It depends on how we're feeling when we get there, because the rest of the cities that we intend to settle are all in stable areas. Portugal wants to be our friend. I really have no idea why he attacked us. I don't know what he was hoping to get out of it. I assume somebody paid him, because he's not a warmonger by nature. Now we're gonna auto you, because when we did it the other way, you just didn't do anything at all. That was pretty annoying. There's the herbs. They don't have music. I don't know who founded music first. This might seem kind of stupid, but it may be that music gets automatically founded by one of the early civilizations in this start, and so you can't get the great musician from it, and nobody had gotten to music first. I'm not sure. That's wild conjecture. So we got the Sistine Chapel. Less good now that the Germans are gone, but still good against the French. We're building up. We're gonna build up to we're gonna see if we can't get the Leaning Tower, just because a lot of Amsterdam is gonna be a really big city for a really long time. No. See, a Dutch revolt took place in in Denmark. As soon as we get optics, we want to get a bunch of, I don't know how to say it, carracks, because our objective is to have the most discovered. We can do that by buying people's maps and not trading away our own. The most important thing to do to get that to happen is to never trade your own map away for any reason whatsoever. It is always the wrong choice. Isn't it funny? Even with Germany gone, we still don't have our marble. Eventually this city is going to become, these two cities in particular, are going to become major centers of colonialism for us. We're going to be building a lot of cities here, coming out of here. Not just yet, but we're pretty close. We have all the infrastructure we need to get these up and running. And we're pretty happy about that. We're gonna get optics in 4 turns. We'll get the Leaning Tower, hopefully. We'll see if we can't get it anyways. And if we don't, we'll get a bunch of money from it. A lot of Europe has paper now. That doesn't surprise us. Portugal actually wasn't Christian before now, which is funny. France is gonna pay us 400 bucks in the rest of optics for essentially nothing. Yeah.
One doesn't discover new lands without losing sight of the shore.
What a friendly guy that those French are. Is there anyone else we want to trade with? We don't really want to give Portugal much. We'd love to trade with the Mali, but they tend to be so behind. They'll end up someone else's vassal. No doubt about it. So we'll get paper. University of Saint-Cor was built somewhere, and it's not somewhere we know about. It's not too surprising, but it tells us it wasn't built in London. I don't want to give you that much money. We're gonna rush the Leaning Tower, and then we're gonna get to work on carracks. And from there, it's colonialism all the way down, pretty much. We're done with the whole wonder thing, and we need to get to South Africa pretty quick here. We need to get paper, education, everything we need to get down there before it's too late. Mali converted to Islam. Again, that was no surprise, and something we always expected. It means they won't like us, but again, that was never a surprise, and it's what we expected. This will never be a great city. It mostly exists just to prevent the English from screwing with us down here. That's okay. I'd do it again. Again, the only other city we want to really settle down here is the Congo. You can get another one up here if you want. But We're not going to, I don't think. The jungle prevents you from doing a lot of what you might want with that. No. Their world will never like us. And that's okay with me. We're gonna get an academy here. Now that I've said it, I do want to go settle the Congo. Now that I think about it. So we'll get our first caravel. We'll go meet the New World civilizations, and hopefully we'll be the first ones to meet them, but probably not. We're gonna vote for Ragnar, because we're a little worried about Isabella centralizing power. She typically isn't very strong, but if she gets a lot of colonies, we're gonna regret helping her in any way that we do help her. So we're not gonna help her. Somehow Louis was also a candidate and won. I voted for Ragnar. I don't know how that happened. Anyways, Louis won. Did we get the vote? Yeah, Ragnar likes us for voting for him. So, we got everything we wanted out of that. So, oh well. Not really sure what happened there. Let's take a look at text real quick. We want to know if these countries have education or not. Because if they do,
I cannot live without books.
if there's already civilizations that have education, we're not going to go for liberalism, because we know that there's just no way. We still want education for... Yeah, we still want education for the universities, but we know that there's no point in doing liberalism. So Ragnar can get astronomy right now. Saladin doesn't have education. I don't think Ragnar has education. France doesn't have education. Spain doesn't have education. Elizabeth doesn't have education. Portugal doesn't have education. So Portugal is funny. Their unique unit comes at, not compass, but the one after that. Navigation? Optics. It's a replacement for the Carrack, and it allows them to funnel settlers overseas without astronomy. The AI typically doesn't make good use of it, but a human can go straight for it and basically get all the colonies he wants. I doubt Portugal has done that because he doesn't even have compass yet. So we actually know he hasn't. Anyways, I'm going to put a cut in here. And we'll keep going in the next episode.